It's the greatest time of the year again, and thank goodness it's not ruined by COVID. It's now finally time to start March Madness once again, and we're going to do our pick show coming right at you. Boy, if that doesn't get you excited for basketball, I don't know what does. This is Great Fox 37.
And Pikachu 23.
And today we're going to come at you and we're going to be doing our March Madness picks for 2021. It was a wild season, and unfortunately, of course, none of our teams made it in, but not a big deal. I understand Arizona's reasoning behind it, and I'm really excited for the future, so long as the sanctions don't kick their asses too hard. And, Notre Dame just sadly can't shoot for shit, and obviously North Carolina decided to embarrass them with a 42-4 run at the end of their game, so that's it for that.
Shout out to the Grand Canyon Arizona School for getting in.
No, that was good there. I mean, Bryce Drew still has it. Even Rick Pitino, with Iona, was able to jump in. I mean, they're probably not going to get past the first round, but it's just really good to see that the representation there and getting everything going with it. So, been super excited to do this, all season, and just so grateful that, COVID's stomped on a few dreams, but we'll see what happens with Kansas and Virginia. And another thing I'm happy about is Duke is not in the tournament.
Yes! And those interesting extra COVID rules about, if this team gets dropped out, we'll pull these other ones. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, if Virginia or Kansas aren't able to live up to par by the end of the week, it could happen, and that's going to be, quite a shock there. I mean, obviously with the ACC tournament, with the fact that Virginia had to drop out because of COVID, Georgia Tech basically got into it. And I'll be honest with you, despite the forfeit from Virginia because of COVID, Georgia Tech's not that bad of a team. So shout out to Josh Pastner, a former Arizona assistant, for finally getting his team into the NCAA tournament there. And this is the first ACC championship that Georgia Tech has won since the early 90s. So, that's really strong there. And, Georgia Tech, the last time they were relevant was in 2004 when they played UConn in the national championship. UConn won. But I remember Will Bynum, who used to be an Arizona player, after he had some problems with Lute Olson, and Lute Olson pretty much kicked him off the team. Bynum went to Georgia Tech and thrived, unfortunately. Bynum was a player that saved us against UCLA when we made a 22-point comeback against him my freshman year, and we stormed the court, so
that
good
is
times.
Crazy. They were saying, no, not that, sorry. They were saying that the last time Georgia Tech got in was 28 years ago. That's the year I was born.
No. Georgia Tech's been in the...
won a thing.
Oh, ACC when they... Okay, ACC.
That's what they were saying the other day. I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, it's a drag. Last year didn't happen because of, how crazy the teams were looking up. But this still has some real... the Big Ten this year really came to show. They were like the conference this year. Usually when you think basketball, you think ACC, but this year the Big Ten really came to show. And Big Ten is basically not only football country, it's basketball country, hands down. And then Big 12, of course, they beat up each other and stay ranked. That was the Big Ten this year, basically. So yeah, we're gonna go over every game. Obviously, some will go in detail. Others, we'll say comments as usual here and there. I'm gonna give my picks first, and then Pikachu's gonna give her picks next. So I'm gonna tell you at points who is looking hot, who's basically looking like a potential upset, dark horse, obviously, and then of course you'll see the Final Four and things like that. So we'll be, when we get to the teams, we'll say comments about them and everything. So we've already watched up on bracketology. I also took some time today to watch some of the teams. I haven't really focused all season on basketball because it's just been out of it and everything like that. But I was able to watch a lot of highlights of games and and stuff like that with a lot of teams, so I've got a pretty good grasp of everything going on. I wasn't really too excited because I was thinking, oh, COVID's probably going to cut it short again, but this time they didn't, so I was very grateful.
Yeah,
so
thankfully.
rather than this being an estimated pick if the tournament went through, we're going all the way, baby. So we're going to start in the West bracket. And of course, we got the number one overall seed Gonzaga Bulldogs, who are undefeated. So basically, this is a darling pick for the tournament. Basically, a lot of people are picking Gonzaga. I mean, Mark Few's a great head coach. Let's face it, he's finally peaking and is finally where he wants to be. He's been in a lot of Final Fours at long last. He even got into a championship against North Carolina. I mean, this is, Few is probably like the best coach on the West Coast right now, hands down. Now they're going to play the winner of the Norfolk State Appalachian State game. It's cool to see Appalachian State, and I got mad respect for that school. I hope they beat Norfolk State. That'd be fun there. But basically, this year I really don't see a 1 seed losing to a 16 seed. Honestly, the only team that I want to say would even stand a chance, basically, would probably have to be Texas Southern against Michigan, to be honest, if they get past Mount St. Mary's in their opening rounder. But honestly, I would just pick all ones to advance in the first round.
Didn't Texas Southern do really good a couple of years ago?
Texas Southern has Mike Davis as the head coach from Indiana, and he's a legend, basically. Semi-legend. He did take Indiana to the 2002 National Championship before the Maryland Terrapins beat them. And what was nice about that year was Arizona started the season beating number one Maryland, so that was pretty sick there in the preseason NIT, which Arizona won, despite having a very young team. So they went from unranked to 7, which is the second largest jump in NCAA history, behind Kansas going unranked to 5 in their 88 run. But anyway, I could go on about the past there, so I'm picking Gonzaga, obviously, there. So next matchup is the 8-9 matchup between 8-seeded Oklahoma and 9-seeded Missouri. Missouri was quite a surprise this year. I really didn't see... when I was watching the rankings and everything, Missouri did jump into the top 10 at some point. Oklahoma's been fairly average all season, so this is kind of a coin toss here. Personally, I'm just going to go with Missouri because I really like their just the hot start they had. And honestly, it's just great to see them back in the tournament, because I remember when they had that coach who went to Tulsa, I forgot his name. They were a 2 seed, and Norfolk State ironically bounced them out in the first round. That was the year that 15 seed Lehigh beat Duke, and then 15 seed Norfolk State beat Missouri. And basically, let's just say that a friend of mine picked both of those, and she didn't know much about basketball and won those 2 games there. So now comes a famous 5-12 matchup that is basically a very infamous, it's a pretty popular pick for an upset. So we've got 5-seeded Creighton taking on 12-seeded UC Santa Barbara. A lot of times, these Big West teams, like I remember I picked UC Irvine as a 13 seed to beat a 4 seed, and I was right. And the reason being is because they had Max Hazard at the time before he transferred to Arizona, and they had a really good, just high-shooting team. UC Santa Barbara has a chance in this because Creighton, sadly, is kind of struggling. A lot of experts are saying Creighton's going to get their acts together and potentially win this. I've been kind of debating this. Typically I usually like to pick at least 1 12 over a 5, or maybe a 2 sometimes. One year I actually picked like 3 or 4 and I got them right, which was a shock. But I'm going to go with UC Santa Barbara, I decided, because I just kind of like Creighton is down. I like the hot streak that Santa Barbara is on, and they're riding tall. They've got a fast-paced offense, so I think they'll get it done there. Now, another famous 4-13 pick is 4th-seeded Virginia and 13th-seeded Ohio. Now, the last time Ohio was a 13 seed, they ended up going to the Sweet 16, ironically enough. So now you're kind of questioning if they could do it this time. Now, Virginia, of course, is coming off of COVID protocols, this isn't really a good team that Tony Bennett's had. It's been kind of like a, I guess, above average at best team. I mean, Virginia still is dangerous, but Ohio is really dangerous in this too. Just to play it safe, I'm probably going to end up just kind of going with Virginia in this one here. But honestly, if you are looking for if you like to gamble and you're looking for a 4-13 upset, Ohio over Virginia is a good pick for that. So I can attest to that. But I'm going to pick Virginia to get it done in there. So next, 6-seeded USC, the highest seeded Pac-12 team, is taking on the winner of the 11-seed Wichita State Drake game. Drake snuck in, and and this is ironic because Wichita State and Drake used to be both in the Missouri Valley Conference. So, now Drake's in the Missouri Valley, and Wichita State went to the Big East. I went to the Big East. So this is kind of a rematch of the old days there, basically. So, I think Wichita State, though, will come out on top in that one. So if it's between if it's between USC and Drake, it's USC all the way there. If it's USC and Wichita State, I'm still going to pick USC in that one. Wichita State isn't really the team that they were in the days of, like, Kevin or Greg Marshall and whatnot, who went to Georgia, obviously, but it's USC is a decent team. I mean, Arizona whomped them at the latter part of the season. I mean, there's always those fluke victories that teams like Arizona will get, and that was one of them. But USC still has, like Evan Mobley and whatnot. I mean, you really want to look out for this team. They're pretty decent when they're on the ball there. So I'm going to pick USC regardless of who they play. You're going with next. We have 3-seed Kansas and 14-seed Eastern Washington. Kansas pretty much has some COVID-19 protocol they have to go through, but if they're healthy, I mean, I'm picking Kansas in it. Eastern Washington doesn't really stand a chance. I'm just going to be fair there. So, Kansas, this is probably going to be like a for sure 3-14 victory there. So Kansas, I'm picking for the second round. Now, Oregon 7th seed taking on Virginia Commonwealth or VCU as a 10 seed. I'm picking Oregon in this. When Oregon fires on all cylinders, they're still a good team, and I think they might like Oregon. There's a possibility that Oregon could beat Iowa in the second round, but honestly, especially if Oregon and Iowa do meet, what's going to happen is that it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game because both of them have just like high-powered offenses. So obviously, in the next round between 2-seeded Iowa and 15-seeded Grand Canyon, I'm taking Iowa in that one, obviously. So basically, that's what I'm going for.
Didn't
there.
Oregon beat us?
Yeah, twice. We've only won like 2 of the last 10 times we played them. Unfortunately, that's why I'm just like not really happy about them right now. So.
Yeah.
So next we'll go into the. I'm going to fill out each. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out each region at a time here. So next we got Gonzaga taking on Missouri, and I'm just going to advance Gonzaga there. Basically, Missouri's not going to have enough firepower to take on Gonzaga, so that's pretty much said and done there. UC Santa Barbara and Virginia. I mean, I think it's going to be a close game in that one, but I think like Virginia is basically going to pull that off, so I'm just going to pick a safety win there, and Virginia will get another Sweet 16 appearance there, basically. So. Now, USC and Kansas have been kind of debating this. It depends on what USC team shows up and what Kansas team shows up. Kansas is notorious usually for either second, like once in a while a first round bounce out, commonly a second round or Sweet 16 bounce out. So it just depends on which USC team shows up and then like which Kansas team shows up. Me personally, I'm going to pick the upset, and I'm going to go with USC on this because I honestly think that if USC plays to their full potential, they're going to do some damage there. I mean, USC is technically kind of like a dark horse in this bracket for me, up to the Sweet 16 though. Now, Oregon, Iowa, I was kind of debating on this one because both teams have really good offenses. So I was tempted to pick Oregon to beat Iowa, but honestly, I'm going to go with Iowa because they have better size and they do have one of the best offenses in the country. So I'm going to definitely pick Iowa to proceed. Yeah, definitely to proceed into the Sweet 16 here. So between Gonzaga and Virginia, I mean, I'm advancing Gonzaga. I honestly think like Gonzaga has the easiest route to the Elite Eight out of all the teams. Basically, Gonzaga's just going to be way too good for all three of the teams that they're playing so far. Now USC Iowa, I'm definitely going to be picking Iowa in this one because they have the better team than USC does. So USC is going to have a good, a nice little stretch, pull off that Kansas upset, and then lose to Iowa, which I think is fair. So the Gonzaga Iowa, this is going to be, now they met earlier in the season and Gonzaga still won by double digits if I recall. And I mean, both these teams obviously have had, more experience since then. And Iowa, of course, has had a tougher run at it than Gonzaga has. However, Gonzaga, I feel, is still, it's going to be a close game this time. I don't think it's going to be like a lopsided victory this time. I think this is going to come down to the wire. And I think Gonzaga is going to obviously get in the Final Four. I did have Gonzaga preset as one of my Final Four teams, and I'm kind of with the pick that they had, or this bracket here. They have the easiest path, minus Iowa. They've got the easiest path to the Final Four. So the Iowa game is going to be a classic. I know that for a fact there. So that rounds up the West bracket there. So we'll be going over to the East bracket. But before we do that, so Pikachu, did you have any comments or anything of that nature?
Not really. I mean, I think that a California team there, the USC.
UC Santa Barbara?
No, USC.
Oh, USC.
I don't like them, but that Mobley guy is really good. So honestly, I probably will pick about the same as you for them because
All right, yeah, we'll definitely be getting to your bracket after all this here, so no problem there. Mm-hmm. So now we get to the East bracket. Now Michigan got the 1 seed in the East bracket there, despite getting bounced early in the Big Ten tournament there. Michigan, another surprise team this year. Like last year, they went from like unranked to number 2 gradually. It didn't happen like all at once, but they just kind of gradually climbed up there, and then basically they just kind of started falling off the map. But what last year showed was that Michigan's new head coach was pretty much on the ball there. Like they were pretty, they were going to be doing things, and you knew it too. It's kind of like when we were in women's and we watched Arizona win the NIT championship in women's. Yeah. I sat there and I was like, yeah, Adia Barnes is actually, I think they're going to do some damage. And then last year Arizona had a shot at being like a 2 or 3 seed, which they got a shot at being a 3 seed this year. I mean, it's a whole different jungle in women's, but it's just an example of when you do the right things, you recruit the right way, and you coach the right way. Look what happens here. You're now a number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So they're going to play the winner of the Mount St. Mary's Texas Southern game. I mean, it doesn't matter who they play. Michigan's going to probably just, Texas Southern could give them a fight, but honestly, I think Michigan's just going to pull away because a lot of these 16 seeds don't have deep benches like the bigger teams have. So I think Michigan obviously will just have an easy first round win. Now, second round is between LSU and St. Bonaventure. St. Bonaventure ended up winning the Atlantic 10, so that was kind of a surprise there. This is I'm picking LSU in this one, the 8 seed. I don't really know too much about St. Bonaventure outside of them winning the Atlantic 10, but I watched LSU. I basically watched LSU today play Alabama in the SEC championship, and I got to tell you, LSU's is a pretty dangerous team. I'll tell you that. So just excuse me, I'm a little congested there. So yeah, definitely just be on the lookout for a. It'll probably be a close game, but I think LSU is going to pull it off there. Colorado's taking on Georgetown. This is another popular 5-12 upset, and I am going for Georgetown. Colorado is struggled. I mean, Colorado was a better team than Oregon State, so Oregon State ended up beating Colorado in the Pac-12 championship. Colorado has a good team. Don't get me wrong there. Colorado's the highest ranked or highest seeded Pac-12 team. I'm an idiot, so sorry for my previous comment about USC there. But Colorado has a good team, so don't get me wrong on that. Georgetown is one of the best three-point shooting teams in the Big East, basically. Despite their low seeding, I mean, they won the Big East, basically. They really made a nice run. They burst a lot of bubbles, I'll tell you that. Like Louisville, for example, and St. Louis, they were riding on the bubble. Georgetown just like, goodbye, much like Oregon State did. So this is going to be... just a really good matchup to see. I think Georgetown's going to pull it off because they're just riding so high right now on their confidence and just pulling ahead late there. So this is another good 5-12 upset to pick for sure there. Next one is Florida State and UNC Greensboro, North Carolina Greensboro. It's a 4-13. Florida State, despite their turnovers and their just bad night against Georgia Tech, Florida State still has a very good defensive team. So don't count them out and don't think that they're going to go quietly into the night. Florida State Robinson still has Florida State has a really good team here. So I'm definitely moving Florida State past UNC Greensboro. Greensboro could pose them a bit of a challenge, but I think Florida State just has too much firepower there and too much defense. Next is going to be 6-seeded BYU against the winner of the Michigan State UCLA game. Now, this is the most amazing 11-seed opening round matchup I've ever seen, and it's just both the UCLA. I'm not surprised for being there because they had a subpar season. Michigan State, on the other hand, I mean, they had to crawl and claw and scrape their way in. Minus what happened in 2015 or 2016, if I recall, where they lost to Middle Tennessee State in the first round, 2-15. Michigan State really does well in the tournament a lot of the times there. As we saw 2 years ago, they got into the Final Four there, and then Texas Tech had that surprise run and just was like, boom. So Michigan State, I'm picking to beat UCLA, and I'm actually picking Michigan State to beat BYU. Alex Barcelo, who transferred from Arizona, plays for BYU. He had a great season last year, but this year hasn't really, been an impact. I think Michigan State, Tom Izzo just has that team ready for March usually. So I think Michigan State's probably going to pull off that first round upset and do a little damage there. So that's a good 11-6 pick right there. Now, the darlings of this year was Shaka Smart, the Texas Longhorns at number 3, taking on Abilene Christian. I mean, I'm picking Texas, hands down. I got to give Shaka Smart credit. I started doubting him. I mean, he won the NIT a few years ago at Texas, got him in the tournament a few times. Just, they were mediocre teams. This year, I was just, when I saw them climbing back in the top 5, I was just sitting there wow, this is like the Rick Barnes days before he went to Tennessee. This is fantastic. So it's really good to see Texas having a high seed again and just kind of being in a conversation there. So I definitely think that Texas is going to have an easy time against Abilene Christian there. So that's going to bring up a really good second round game there between Michigan State and Texas. That should be a classic there. So next we go to a 7-10 seed between UConn and Maryland. Maryland really hasn't impressed me that much. UConn is kind of slowly starting to climb up the ladder and getting out of mediocrity and whatnot, so I'm proud of them there. So I'm definitely going to be taking UConn in that one. Don't really know too much about both the teams, but UConn, again, has just kind of slowly started climbing out of the gutter that they were in. So Alabama, 2 seed, taking on Iona. Now, oh man, the last time I saw Alabama highly ranked was back in 2003 when Alabama was number 1 for a while before they got upset, and then Arizona took over the number 1 spot again. It was just an amazing start of the season for Alabama, and then they kind of made a slide. Seeing Alabama as a 2 seed, I mean, I remember a few years ago when Alabama beat Arizona in a rematch game following DeAndre Ayton's season, I kind of started seeing that they were on the right track to start climbing up, and Alabama just made a leaps and bounds just season this year. Iona's coached by the legend Rick Pitino, and despite the whole stripper and incident that occurred in Louisville under him and whatnot, it's good to see that he's broken the NCAA record by taking 5 different teams to the NCAA tournament. So hey, mad props to him there. Bama though obviously is going to get it done. So said and done on that. So then we got a Michigan LSU matchup. Now, if you were looking for a potential 1-8 or 1-9 upset, this could very well be one. LSU is really going to play Michigan hard. It's going to be a very, very exciting and difficult game for Michigan here. I'm still going to take Michigan to win this, but if you are looking for a 1-8 upset, which can happen, I mean, I've seen some 8 seeds go, and and rarely a 9 seed go to the Final Four. But if you're looking at a 1-8 upset, I'll tell you this, I did pick, when Butler took on Pittsburgh several years ago, it was a 1-8 matchup, I picked Butler to beat Pittsburgh, or I don't remember, was it Pittsburgh or... Yeah, it was Pittsburgh. I picked Butler to beat Pittsburgh, and Butler did it there. It was an amazing game. And then I remember NC State upset number 1 seed Villanova, the crying Piccolo girl. And then the following season, Villanova won it all in the last second 3. So I remember that. So if you're looking for some excitement with that, LSU, I think, has the biggest chance out of all the 8 seeds to beat, 8 or 9 seeds, mid seeds as we call them, to beat Michigan. I think LSU has the biggest chance to beat a 1 seed. So, but I'm going to take Michigan in that one. Georgetown, Florida State could be a good matchup as long as Florida State doesn't become a turnover machine. I'm going to pick Florida State to advance in that one there. So Georgetown's going to have that nice little upset in the first round. They're probably going to keep it competitive with Florida State, but I think Florida State's defense will wear down Georgetown, and there's your Sweet 16 for them yet again. Michigan State and Texas. My heart wants to say Michigan State because, again, I love Tom Izzo. Texas, though, honestly, Shaka Smart's riding tall with this team. It's got them right where they want to be. I'm taking Texas in that one. But it's going to be close. It's going to be a close one, that's for sure there. UConn, Alabama, I'm picking Alabama. I mean, UConn, again, I don't know much about them. I think Alabama is just, after watching them in the SEC championship, they're really good. And I just think that's a no-brainer on that there. So we get to the Sweet 16 bracket here, Michigan and Florida State. Now, Florida State usually falls short around this time here. They've got a great team, they've got a great defense, but they always seem to fall short when they get to the Sweet 16. Michigan's a good team, but so is Florida State. I'm so 50-50 on this because I want to pick Florida State in this one because I think Michigan's is the weakest number 1 seed out of all the teams there, and I really want to pick Florida State for this, but they have just a bad track record of losing the Sweet 16, but you know what? Fuck it. I mean, honestly, this is the year of surprises, so I'm taking Florida State to upset Michigan and get to the Elite Eight, and, we'll see what happens from beyond there. Now, Texas and Alabama is another coin toss. I mean, I really want to go with Texas, but Alabama seems to be, Texas seems to be a very popular pick for this. And Alabama is riding high. I mean, this is one of their best seasons I've seen them have in quite a while. I guess I'm going to go with Texas just because I love Shaka Smart. He's a great coach. Took VCU to a Final Four several years ago. Just an improbable run with them there, which was just phenomenal. And then the victory between Florida State and Texas, now you have to kind of ask yourself, will Texas's rebounding or Florida State's defense win it at the end of the day? Will Robinson finally get his team into the Final Four, or will Shaka Smart revisit it for the first time since he coached VCU? So that becomes the next question there. I am going to go Florida State. I honestly did not anticipate this to be one of my Final Four teams, to be honest with you there, but after looking at this bracket, I really think the East is loaded with just a lot of really exciting teams and games, and I think Florida State is probably finally going to get over that hump as long as they're playing efficient, steady basketball, and they'll finally get into the Final Four against Gonzaga. So any comments on that one there?
Not really, although one of our bracket people that we watched were saying, I'm surprised Louisville didn't get in.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Michigan State popped the bubble, Drake popped the bubble, so there you go. I'm surprised Drake got in, to be honest. So now we're going to go to the South bracket. So Baylor is the number 1 seed in the South, and they're going to play Hartford. I mean, Baylor's going to win. Baylor's just going to destroy them. Baylor is just as good as they were last year, basically, if not maybe even a little better. Now, second round is between 8th-seeded North Carolina and 9th-seeded Wisconsin. North Carolina had a down year. They had a really down year, just like Duke, just like Michigan State, just like even Kentucky. Kentucky had the worst out of all of them there. So, North Carolina just... I'm picking North Carolina to win because they seem to be getting their acts together, which is good, and they have a lot of really good raw talent. So I'm definitely going to be taking North Carolina in that one. Wisconsin just isn't the same that they used to be and whatnot. So I'm going to take North Carolina in that, and that's going to be an exciting second round matchup with Baylor, and we'll get to that. So next is 5-seeded Villanova and 12-seeded Winthrop. This also seems to be like Winthrop only has 1 loss in the season, but they play a cookie-cutter schedule and a cookie-cutter conference. Villanova, I think, is going to just set this game for perfectly and whatnot. I mean, Winthrop's going to give them a fight. This is probably going to come down to the wire. I was considering taking Winthrop in this, but honestly, I think Villanova having more, like both teams have great tournament experience, and Winthrop has upset a few teams before, but I'm definitely going to take Villanova in that one just because they've got a deeper bench. Then comes 4th-seeded Purdue against 13th-seeded North Texas. Hey, congrats to North Texas. I got to give them some props there. Congrats to North Texas on winning their conference there. It was a good run for them. Purdue's been kind of like on and off. They're an above-average team. Usually above-average teams are 4 seeds, typically 4 or 5 seeds. So I really think like Purdue will take care of this here, and I think they'll probably just run away with it. North Texas really isn't that good, but it might be close in the beginning, but then Purdue, I think, is just going to come away there. Then we get to an intriguing 6th seed in Texas Tech. I love Chris Beard. I knew he was going to do well because I loved him at Arkansas Little Rock. I love the first round upset he did at Purdue a while back. That was really fun. I hope they'll be taking on Utah State, who are the runners-up in the Mountain West Conference. This is going to be a close game. Utah State usually is a decent, one of those decent scare teams and whatnot. But Texas Tech is like a very underrated and dangerous 6th seed, and I think they're definitely going to be doing some damage in this tournament here, so I'm definitely going to take Texas Tech with that. Now comes my dark horse. And what's exciting about it is that they're playing quite an exciting team, and this is going to be a crazy game. 3-seeded Arkansas is taking on 14-seeded Colgate. Now, don't fall asleep on Colgate there. Colgate has a really just bizarre Princeton-style offense that is going to give Arkansas some fits there. I think Arkansas has probably one of the most complete teams in the country right now. And they're really going to surprise. I think they're really going to surprise a lot of people in this section. I think they're possibly they're even Elite 8 material, even potentially Final Four material. That's how scary this Arkansas team is. So I'm going to pick Arkansas in this, but this is going to be, if you want to pick a 14 seed over a 3 seed, Colgate has the best chance. But that's like not saying a whole lot, but Colgate still has a very interesting opportunity there. Now, Florida and Virginia Tech. I'm picking Virginia Tech in this because they just have a lot more speed than Florida does. I mean, Florida's a decent team, but Virginia Tech's been pulling off like a lot of really amazing victories as of late. So I'm going to be picking Virginia Tech on that one there. I mean, it could go either way in that, but I'm personally going to go for Virginia Tech. Sorry, Florida. And then we got Ohio State as a 2 seed, the runners-up in the Big Ten, taking on Oral Roberts. That's no contest. So Ohio State's going to mop the floor with Oral Roberts. Sorry, Flanders. Yeah, a little trivia. That's Simpsons. Oral Roberts University is the school you go to become like a priest or a pastor and whatnot. And Ned Flanders in The Simpsons actually graduated from Oral Roberts. So we get to the second round where we see Baylor taking on North Carolina. It's possible North Carolina could beat Baylor. I mean, North Carolina's got the talent to do it. Baylor just is just so much of a dominating team. But if you wanted to attempt another 8-1 upset, it's not as big of a chance that LSU has over Michigan. But North Carolina could possibly beat Baylor, kind of like last year how we were saying Arizona could end up beating Baylor because it'd be like a rematch, and Arizona got a little better at the end of the year. But I'm going to take Baylor to progress to the Sweet 16 in that one. Villanova and Purdue is a bit of a coin toss. I'm just going to pick Purdue personally. I like Villanova. Jay Wright's a great coach, but I personally am just going to go with Purdue just because I feel that they've accomplished more this season than Villanova. But it could go either way, honestly. Texas Tech, Arkansas, this is going to be a fun, exciting matchup. I'm really excited to see this if it happens. I mean, I'm excited for the Arkansas-Colgate game, but I'm really excited to see what happens in this. Texas Tech could very well win this. I just think Arkansas is going to win it because, like I said, I think they have one of the most complete teams in the country right now, and I've watched a couple videos of them, and they're pretty solid, I'll tell you that. But Texas Tech, don't count them out. Texas Tech could potentially get in the Elite Eight even. It's possible. They could. Texas Tech has enough talent to beat Ohio State, for example, who I think will beat Virginia Tech without a problem, I feel. So we get to the Sweet 16, Baylor and Purdue. I'm taking Baylor. Baylor's just too damn good for Purdue. I don't think Purdue has enough gas in the tank for that there. And then Arkansas, Ohio State. This is going to be a close one. This is going to be just a great matchup. I'm picking Arkansas to upset Ohio State. Arkansas is going to find a way to win. It could even go into overtime. I just really think Arkansas is this dark horse in this bracket here that's going to do a lot of more damage than like Texas Tech potentially. But I'll tell you this: if Texas Tech beats Arkansas, I think Texas Tech could beat Ohio State. I don't know if they could beat Baylor, but I think that Texas Tech could even make an Elite Eight run if they get past Arkansas and Utah State, of course. So then you go to Baylor, Arkansas. I want to pick Arkansas. I really do. I mean, like I said, this is probably one of the best teams I've seen them have since 1994 when they won the national championship and sadly ousted my Arizona Wildcats in the Final Four there.
No.
Yeah. But I'm going to pick Baylor. I did originally have Baylor as one of my Final Four teams, basically. I was all saying, I think all the number 1 seeds will, but obviously that changed after I saw Michigan. Unfortunately, since they lost their point or their star player there, it's just Livers. Yeah, it's just going to be really tough for them now. So that's 3 of my 4 Final Four teams. Any comments on the South bracket?
Nope.
All right. And last but certainly not least, we go to the Midwest. So the number 1 seed and the Big Ten champions are the Illinois Fighting Illini and Boku's team. Super happy about that. So they're taking on Drexel, and they're going to beat the stuffing out of Drexel. So this is, Illinois, boy, their team, I mean, sometimes I'd be sitting there looking at them they had a rough start to the season, and then all of a sudden they just ended hot. And I got to tell you, they're a very hot pick to win it all. The Gonzaga, Illinois is a very hot pick for a national championship right now, and it very well could come down to that, but we'll get to that in a moment. So 8 seed, 9 seed, Loyola Chicago and Georgia Tech. I got to go Georgia Tech. I mean, I'm a Josh Pastner, Arizona. I really loved what I saw, and I think Pastner is finally getting Georgia Tech where they need to be. I felt so bad for when he coached Memphis, and I felt bad for, so far at Georgia Tech, because this is his 5th year, and I'm glad he's finally starting to make better progress with the team, because I hate seeing him not succeed. He's a great recruiter, but I just hated not seeing seeing him succeed, basically. But now I think he's finally got the pieces together. He could do some damage in the future. I really could see him doing some damage in the future there. And he's still young, too. So you got to keep in mind that he's probably going to build himself up gradually and make some strides there. So I'm going to go with Georgia Tech, but it's going to be a close one. Loyola Chicago is a dandy Cinderella team. Let's not forget their Final Four run and that sister that they had there. So 5-seeded Tennessee and 12-seeded Oregon State. Oregon State, let's be honest, they're lucky to be here. They won the Pac-12 championship for the first time ever, and it was the first time they were in the Pac-12 championship since 1988 with that amazing Arizona team with Sean Elliott and Steve Kerr, and they whomped them in that Pac. Yeah, Wayne Tinkle. Yeah. Pikachu loves that name. Loves the Tinkles. Tennessee, I just think, has too much defense, so I think Tennessee is going to come out with that there. Oklahoma State and Liberty. If you're looking for another 4-13 match or a potential upset, Liberty could beat Oklahoma State. I'm going with Oklahoma State because I really love Oklahoma State. This is like this. Their team is like, after Eddie Sutton left, I never thought Oklahoma State could get a high seed again. This is the highest seed I've seen them have since they were a 2 seed back in 2005 when Arizona upset them in the Sweet 16, and then Arizona lost to Illinois in the Elite Eight, unfortunately. But this is a really exciting Oklahoma State team, and I think they're going to get past Liberty. But that's going to be a close one, and that's going to be an exciting game. So I'm looking forward to that. 6-seeded San Diego State's taking on 11-seeded Syracuse. Syracuse is lucky to be here. And San Diego State won the Mountain West. I'm picking San Diego State. It's going to be a close matchup. Jim Boeheim knows how to play fairly well in March, but I just think they're going to get. I think they're just going to come away, come up short and stuff. So it'll be a close game. But yeah, San Diego State's still riding high with their new head coach and whatnot. West Virginia and Morehead State. West Virginia seems to be another popular dark horse pick, and ironically enough, they're a 3 seed. Morehead State in the past, typically when they would be like a 12 or 13 seed, I loved picking them. Like I remember I picked them to upset Louisville, and I was right about that. But I think West Virginia is going to pull away with it. I mean, Bob Huggins, this is a good team. This is a good team that Bob Huggins has. So, I think West Virginia will come away with that one. Clemson and Rutgers. Rutgers is another team that's lucky to be here, and I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's just nice to see Rutgers getting some accolation, or some high pride again, because their women's basketball team good, and now it's just good to see that Rutgers is actually back in the mix. I'm still going to pick Clemson there. Rutgers could probably give Clemson a fight, but I'm going to go with Clemson, who's Clemson's had a pretty surprising season. It was nice to see them too, ranked there for a while and kind of climbing up the ladder a little. Next comes Houston and Cleveland State, and Houston is going to beat the ever-loving crap out of Cleveland State. Houston is probably one of the most dangerous teams in this entire tournament. They have been beating the last games that they played, they've been winning by like 30 to 40 plus games. I know they're not like elite competition, but Houston is just on a warpath right now, and they're extremely dangerous. I'm really, this bracket I'm going for kind of like a roll of the dice here, and you'll see what I'm talking about, but it's just, Houston is just, this is an impressive team. Illinois and Georgia Tech, it's going to be a close one, I think, but I'm going to pick Illinois. They're just too good. I mean, they're going to outlast Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's going to give them a hell of a fight, though, but I'm definitely going to be picking Illinois in that one. Tennessee, Oklahoma State. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. I think they have the better offense. Tennessee is a little inconsistent when it comes to shooting. It's probably going to be a low-scoring game, too, because Tennessee does have a decent defense. But I'm going to go with Oklahoma State finally getting back into its Sweet 16 and, getting back on the map there. Because Oklahoma State has been, a legendary team in the 90s under Eddie Sutton there. San Diego State and West Virginia. I'm picking West Virginia. West Virginia is just a much better team than San Diego State. It's a Bob Huggins coach team where he has them firing on all cylinders. So, gonna go with that. Houston. I think Houston's just going to beat the ever-loving crap out of Clemson. I don't think Clemson stands a chance whatsoever. Sweet 16, Illinois, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's going to give Illinois a fight, but I'm going to take Illinois in this one. I really think Illinois is Final Four material this year. I really believe that. So be on the lookout for them. They don't feel ashamed to pick Illinois to go to the Final Four. They have the high potential to do it. West Virginia, Houston. West Virginia seems to be a very popular pick because they feel like Houston does have a history of falling short in like the second round or the Sweet 16. I just don't see it happening this year for Houston. They just are so just aggressive this year, and they really are trying. Have got like they've just got like a goal set in their mind. I'm picking Houston over West Virginia. I'm going against like all the popular picks of West Virginia there, but don't fall asleep on West Virginia. They could easily get into the Elite Eight. Don't fall short of West Virginia there. West Virginia originally was going to be a dark horse pick of mine until I saw them in this bracket with Houston. So now we're going to get to the roll of the dice. So we got Illinois and Houston. Illinois could very well win this game. This is going to be if these two teams meet, this is probably going to be one of my favorite games of the season or of the tournament, honestly. I'm going with Houston to get into the Final Four for the first time in, God, how long has it been? Like since '84, I want to say. They just Kevin Sampson used to coach Oklahoma, just really has this team, just on a destiny roll. So this is my Final Four: Gonzaga, State, and Houston. So between Gonzaga and Florida State, I want to pick Florida State, but Gonzaga's just too damn good, so I'm picking Gonzaga there. And then between Baylor and Houston, Baylor could let this game just completely. They could just totally dominate this game. Ultimately, I really want to pick Houston. I do. But I think Baylor's probably going to get the edge in this game. So my national championship is going to be Gonzaga and Baylor. And let's just say this: if Houston wasn't in the Illinois bracket, I'd be picking Illinois as my national champion, honestly. But Gonzaga Baylor. Does Gonzaga get that undefeated season for the first undefeated season since Bobby Knight did it in the '70s with Indiana? Or is Baylor going to finally get a championship and show that they're better than the women's team? Who beat my Notre Dame Fighting Irish a few years ago in women's?
No.
Yeah, it was the same year Arizona won the NIT. But,
oh, yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm going with Gonzaga. I think they could probably have an undefeated season. And, what can I say? They're a really good team. I think Mark Few's finally going to get his national championship. So, yeah, my final score prediction, I'll just say it's going to be 93-90 because I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. So that's it for mine. So I'm picking Gonzaga to win it all. Why not? Why not? Yay! Joy, Tyranny, Rapture. So now I can shop apparel, but no, we won't be doing that. So now we're going to go to the FoxnChu bracket. So basically this is going to be for Pikachu's picks here. So, you ready to begin there, Pikachu?
Uh-huh.
All right, so Gonzaga, Norfolk State, Appalachian State.
Let's do the Appalachian for the first one, and then Gonzaga beating them.
Okay. Oklahoma, Missouri.
You convinced me on Missouri, so we're going to go with them.
Okay. Creighton and UC Santa Barbara.
I'm doing Santa Barbara for that.
Okay, so that's one of Pikachu's upsets there. Virginia, Ohio.
Was it Ohio or Ohio State?
Ohio, the Bobcats.
Okay, so I'll do Ohio then.
Ooh, so yeah, Pikachu's going to roll the dice on that. That's probably the best chance of a 13 seed winning, so that's not a bad pick at all. Mm-hmm. USC and the winner of the Wichita State Drake game.
Wichita, and then USC beats them.
All right. Kansas and Eastern Washington.
Kansas.
Okay. Oregon and VCU. Virginia Commonwealth
Yes,
is VCU.
okay. Yeah, we'll do Oregon for now.
All right. Iowa Grand Canyon.
I really wanted to see an Arizona team do something, but we're going to go with Iowa.
Okay. Honestly, Grand Canyon... Okay, that's something I forgot to mention. Out of the 15-2s, Grand Canyon, I think, does have the greatest chance. You know, I really think they do. Even Iona might have a slight chance against Alabama. I mean, if you like to live dangerously and you want to do a 15-2, pick Grand Canyon over Iowa.
Let's do that.
Oh, you're going to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Why not?
All right.
I'm going to have a lot of weird shit, so why not?
That's fine, yeah. And then Gonzaga, Missouri.
Gonzaga.
All right. Santa Barbara, Ohio.
We're going to do Ohio.
Oh, so that's a 13 seed. They do another Sweet 16 run. Okay. USC, Kansas.
Like I said earlier,
Yeah.
I don't like USC, but yeah.
Yeah. Oregon, Grand Canyon.
Oh man. We'll do Grand Canyon again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The last time a 15 seed went to a Sweet 16 was Florida Gulf Coast. They upset number 2 seed Georgetown and number 7 seed San Diego State. I forgot who they lost to, but it's not out of the complete realm of possibility. And here's the irony. Florida Gulf Coast was coached by Andy Enfield, who coaches USC now.
Oh, wow.
Yep. That's why USC's been doing a lot better.
Yeah.
First, they've been doing this. I haven't seen them this good since, Henry Bibby, who's Mike Bibby's father, coached USC. All right, so Gonzaga or Ohio?
Gonzaga.
All right. And then USC or Grand Canyon?
I hate USC, but we're going to have to choose them.
Yeah, so USC makes it to an Elite Eight, which isn't all out of the realm of probability without Iowa there.
Yeah.
So Gonzaga or USC?
Gonzaga.
All right. So we're pretty much on the same page there for that Final Four matchup there. Mm-hmm. So now we go to the East bracket. Michigan versus the Mount St. Mary's Texas Southern winner.
And then Michigan beats them.
All right. And then LSU St. Bonaventure.
LSU.
All right. Colorado Georgetown.
Georgetown.
Oh, okay. Florida State UNC Greensboro.
Yeah, you convinced me on Florida State for some, so we'll go with that.
Yeah, no problem there. BYU versus the Michigan State UCLA winner.
Michigan State. I think we'll do Michigan State beating that one and then beating BYU.
All right. Texas Abilene Christian.
Texas.
All right. UConn Maryland.
I don't know enough about either team, but let's do UConn for now.
Okay. And then Alabama Iona.
It would be cool to choose another dark horse, but I think Alabama is doing better, so we'll go with them.
All right. And then Michigan LSU.
We'll do Michigan.
Excuse me. Georgetown Florida State.
Ooh. That's a very good question. I think we'll do Florida State again.
All right. I thought you were going to pick LSU over Michigan, honestly. It's all good there. Let's see. Michigan State, Texas.
Texas.
All right. And then UConn, Alabama.
Alabama.
All right. Next is Michigan, Florida State.
We will do Florida State again.
Oh, okay. And then Texas, Alabama.
Texas.
Oh, okay. And then Florida State, Texas.
I'm going to choose Texas again.
All right. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, Shaka Smart's got a good team there, so that's our first difference. No problem there. It's a good. Then we got, they're going to the South, Baylor, Hereford.
Baylor.
Yeah, my mom was born in Hartford, Connecticut, but yeah, they're,
My aunt used to live there.
North Carolina, Wisconsin.
North Carolina.
All right. Villanova, Winthrop.
Villanova.
All right. Purdue, North Texas.
Purdue.
Okay. Texas Tech, Utah State.
Oh, yeah, you were saying Texas Tech's doing really good. We'll choose them.
All right. Arkansas, Colgate.
I am going to do Colgate on this one.
Ooh.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah. Florida, Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
All right. And then Ohio State, Oral Roberts.
Ohio State.
All right. And
yeah,
then,
sorry, Flinders.
yeah. And then Baylor, North Carolina.
Oh, man. We're doing Baylor on this one.
All right. Villanova, Purdue.
Let's do Purdue again.
All right. And then Texas Tech, Colgate.
Oh, man. I'm going to do Texas Tech on this one.
All right. And then Virginia Tech, Ohio State.
Ohio was the really good one, so we're going to do Virginia Tech.
Ohio State.
Oh.
Yeah. Ohio State is the runner-up in the Big Ten. I think that's what you're getting
sometimes
at.
I get that.
That's okay.
There's too many teams for the same state. It's annoying.
It's okay.
Okay, so yeah, Ohio State.
Okay. And then Baylor, Purdue.
Baylor.
All right. And then Texas Tech, Ohio State.
Ohio.
Baylor, Ohio State.
And Baylor.
All right. There we go. And then we go to the Midwest bracket, Illinois or Drexel.
Illinois.
Of course.
I don't even know this Drexel team. I don't even know where that is.
I think it's in New York, if I recall.
Okay.
And then Loyola, Chicago, Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech.
All right. Tennessee, Oregon State.
I'm gonna have to go with Tinkle on this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Pikachu's going
Just
for
to
three.
see what happens.
Pikachu's going for 3 12-seed upsets
Yeah.
there. Okay, and then Oklahoma State, Liberty.
I want to do Liberty on this
Oh,
one.
I had a feeling you were going to pick them. So there you go.
I chose them I think a couple years ago.
That's true.
Because they were doing really good in their seasonal thing. Sadly, I think they fell short, but yeah.
San Diego State, Syracuse.
We're gonna do San Diego.
All right. West Virginia, Morehead State.
West Virginia.
All right. Clemson, Rutgers.
Clemson.
All right. And then Houston, Cleveland State.
Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Illinois, Georgia Tech.
Illinois.
All right. And then Oregon State, Liberty.
Liberty.
Ooh,
Yep.
okay. So Pikachu's got 2 13 seeds going to the Sweet 16. San Diego State, West Virginia.
Ooh. Gonna have to choose West Virginia on this one.
All right. Clemson, Houston.
Houston.
All right. And then Illinois, Liberty.
Illinois.
All right.
I like you, Liberty, but damn it. Yeah.
And then West Virginia, Houston.
Houston.
Oh, okay. Yep. Houston.
Oh man, yeah, I gotta choose Houston on this one.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. So there we go. So we have a similar Final Four, except she's taken Texas over Florida State. Nothing wrong with that. So Gonzaga or Texas?
Gonzaga.
All right. And then Baylor or Houston?
Houston.
Ooh.
Yep.
So the national championships between Gonzaga and Houston, and who do you think's going to win it?
I think Gonzaga. As
Gonzaga.
much as Houston is like destroying everybody, yeah.
All right, so we're both picking Gonzaga. So we both think Mark Few is going to have his first national championship. What do you think the final score of the Gonzaga-Houston game will be?
Ooh. 90 to like 80?
90 to 80. Okay, sounds fair.
Something like that.
All right, so both of us are going for Gonzaga this year, so Gonzaga, don't let us down, but obviously we're all open to having, fun, exciting things happen. There's certain teams that I don't mind that with, and then there's certain teams I do mind with, and yeah, I'm going to spray the confetti all around. All right, so that takes care of that. So that's our March Madness. Those are our March Madness brackets. I really love filling these out, and I'm glad that
fun.
this year we can finally fill them out. So what'll happen is the the first round action will be Friday and Saturday rather than Thursday and Friday. I'm off on Saturday. I'm not taking time off this year because I needed to use some vacation time earlier for some personal stuff, and basically I work Sunday and Monday. So basically what we'll do is after all the action on Saturday, we'll video just to catch up on everything and see how our brackets are doing, and then we'll do another video on Monday night, because I do have Tuesdays off, so we'll do another video on Monday night and see how the Sweet 16 is shaping up, and just kind of share our thoughts about everything going on. A lot of the games I'll just have to be watching to recap and everything, because I work 10 to 6:30 basically. So, but yeah, that's it. It's just, this is, March Madness begins on Thursday with the play-in games. So next time, another thing, sorry about the Super Mario Brothers 3 video. Pikachu just forgot to turn the knob the right way, but it's all good. I was just talking about some strategy and stuff like that while I was playing. When we do World 1 Level 2 next time, we'll definitely have the volume on like we do today. We did a test video today. That was my fault last time. But yeah, next video will probably be something of that nature. My folks are coming into town on Tuesday. I will be going, or we will be going gun shopping on Tuesday. So that'll be lots of fun there. So yeah, we'll either do the next video. Will more than likely, it might be another review of Nintendo Power, or we might do another strategy of Super Mario 3, or it might be the next, the end of the first round video. We'll find out. Well, hey, I had a lot of fun there. Did you have any closing comments, Pikachu?
Other than the fact that it's nice to finally have this year, not really.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, you guys make your picks, and, just if you want to tell us what you think of them, just, leave a comment if you want to there. And, yeah, I always love talking basketball.
I did just think of one. I'm glad Duke is not here. Oh, man.
For him, but this is probably the roughest season I've seen Krzyzewski have in a while. So, but yeah, I still can't forgive him for 2001. So, but anyway, yeah, this is a lot of fun, and really looking forward to Thursday to see. I'm really looking forward to that Michigan State UCLA game. That's going to be an exciting game. And really looking forward to the first round action. Sadly, I'm going to be working during the Colgate Arkansas game, but I'll probably have that game on my screen. So, but anyway, hey, that's it for our picks there. This is Gray Fox 37
and Pikachu 23,
and we'll see you next time.